We have some big news coming in. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey has now liked tweets praising Rihanna for her stand on farmers' protests in India. A big statement coming in from Twitter. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey now likes those tweets praising Rihanna for her stand on farmers' protests in India. Clearly a big sign, considering that the government has weighed heavy on Twitter for not pulling down accounts that have allegedly spread hate and content that is misleading, misinformation, including farmer genocide that several of those handles quoted. The government has given about 250 odd accounts, the handles, to Twitter, but so far it hasn't been pulled down. At a time like this, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey has liked the tweets praising Rihanna for her stand on farmers' protest in India. Let me cut across to Geeta joining us for more details on that. Geeta, quite a bold statement made by Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. This is a time when the government has been asking and in fact threatened penal action against Twitter for not pulling down those accounts that have been spreading misinformation. A notice has been slapped on them as well. At a time like that, when India has been stern, the Ministry of External Affairs has called this international propaganda, which includes Rihanna's tweet. Here is Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey now liking those tweets praising Rihanna for her stand on the farmers' protest in India. What does this really speak of?
Well, Nabila, he's just liked one tweet. It was from a very senior journalist who spoke about how Rihanna has absolutely shook the Indian government. The question over here that needs to be asked is whether Rihanna really spread any hate speech or her comments were hateful in nature. Rihanna's tweet is very different from the ones that were actually spreading misinformation. All she did was put out a legit article of a well-known news agency in America working out of India as well, and asked the question, shouldn't we be talking about this? To which the senior journalist wrote that Rihanna indeed has shaken the Indian administration. There were responses. Ministry of External Affairs in an unprecedented manner did respond to the commentary that came from America after Rihanna's tweet, and he liked that tweet. So at this point in time, I just say that everybody has a right to their opinion, and if it is not hateful in nature, if it is not creating disharmony or creating rifts amongst communities within India, then people do have a right to their space. But yes, given that he holds a very important position, this would be seen as certain kind of endorsement in many ways than one, and we will have to wait and see how the Indian government really reacts to this entire Jack Dorsey's endorsement to or liking of a tweet that says that Rihanna shook the Indian administration. Having said that, neither of the two tweets that Jack Dorsey endorsed directly or indirectly are spreading hateful comments or are hateful in nature.
Right, you rightly said, Geeta, endorsement. This is indirectly endorsing what Rihanna has said. Now, Rihanna did not take a stand. She asked for a discussion. She may have been entitled to her opinion, but here, on the other hand, the journalist, like you say, is praising Rihanna for shaking up the government, the Indian government. In a way, Twitter India stands to be slapped with a notice by the Indian government asking them to pull down some handles, which they haven't done so far. 250 odd handles that have to be pulled down. Only 2 have been pulled down so far. At a time like that, Twitter seems defiant with a move like this.
Well, in many ways than one, yes, because you see, Twitter has been defiant even in America when there were cases or when they were being asked to come and present themselves in hearings at the US Congress and the Senate, and they still stood by what they thought was freedom of speech. Having said that, it is a different matter that there are many very important Twitter handles and influencer handles that have put out tweets that could very well disturb the nature, disturb the peace and calm and quiet of the country, and that is a different matter altogether that the Indian government is taking up with Twitter in terms of trying to take down those handles that could spread disharmony. These are very important aspects, and that's why the endorsement or the like by Jack Dorsey comes at a time when Twitter is still battling, or India is still battling with Twitter to pull down those tweets and those accounts that are spreading misinformation.
Absolutely, Geeta Mohan, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Meanwhile, as the government now firefights the global online propaganda on the farmers' protest. Internet freedom debate has now reignited. In fact, the government